host of the Gridiron.
All right. Well, we're starting to head there, but we're still not there yet. Still not quite there yet. Is this the Giants' worst offense of all time? Nah, not quite. I grew up in the 70s. Then I'm going to look at it. I think we had back-to-back 12-point seasons. So, I mean, we're heading there. You give us another couple of weeks and we might start plummeting that way. But as of right now, what are we averaging there? Points per game. We're averaging 14. So, well, let me just rattle off some, so we're averaging 14 points a game. Okay. But let me rattle off some numbers in the 70s. Okay. Especially the 75s and 76 seasons. I mean, they were even worse. So 71, we were 4-10, right? We were 16 points a game we averaged. Okay, 72, we were good. 72, we were 8-6. So 72, I'm not even going to bother. 73, we were 2-11-1. So 73, what was that? 16.1 points per game, 2-11-1. 74, we were 2-12. What did we average in 74? 74, 13.9. Now you got 75 and 76. 75, we actually went from 2-12 to 5-9, but we still couldn't score any points. So 75, with a record of 5-9, we were 15.4. Okay. Oh, maybe it's 76 and 77. We had back-to-back 12. 76 was unbelievable. It was unbelievably horrible. 76, we actually won 4 games in a row without scoring a touchdown. 4 in a row without scoring a touchdown. So, but 76, we were 3-11. And we averaged 12.1 points per game. Let's see here. We lost 24-7 to Minnesota. Then we lost 27-0 at home to the Steelers. That got Bill Arnsparger fired. We were 0-7 at the time. Halfway through the season, we're 0-7. Bill Arnsparger got fired. Warren McVay, our new coach, he was here for the rest of 76, 77, and 78. And after the middle at the Miracle of the Meadowlands 78 season, all that, he was gone, and that's what we brought Perkins in. But so after we lost 24-7 to the Vikings, we got shut out at home to the Steelers 27. We lost 10-0 to the Eagles. Then we lost. Oh, I'm sorry. Then we lost 9-3 to the Cowboys in Dallas. I remember that game. We got down there. We could never score a freaking touchdown. It was unbelievable. But then we won our first game. We were 0-9. We finally beat the Redskins. They beat us 11 times in a row. Actually, George Allen, their coach, was the coach of the Rams and the coach of the Redskins. So between the Rams and the Redskins, when he coached both those teams, he beat us 14 times in a row. 66, 68, and 70 as the coach of the Rams. And then 71, he became the coach of the Redskins. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. The first game of 76. So 10 and the first game of 7. So 11 times in a row as the Redskins. We finally beat them. We beat them 12-9 at the Meadowlands, 12-9. So that was our first win of the season. We were 1-9, but we still went. That was our 4th game in a row, no touchdowns. Then the following week we lost to Denver, 14-13. Yeah, but I mean that was just a horrible season. 76 was just that. So we scored 12.1 points per game, and 77 was just as bad. 77, we went from 12.1 to 12.9 points per game in 77. Let's see what happened there. 77. Yeah, just a bunch of low scores, and we scored 3 points, 10 points. We got shut out. Somehow the Cardinals shut us out. The Cardinals did not have a good defense. Oh, we got shut out. That was Monday Night Football. We got shut out on. Oh, yeah, I remember that. We lost 28-0 in 77 to the Cardinals, and then I think in 79 we lost 27-0. We lost back-to-back games on Monday Night Football. We lost 28-0 to the Cardinals, and in 79 I think it was. We lost 27-0 to the Redskins. Just unbelievable. We scored 10 points. We scored 10 points. We scored 7 points. We scored 9 points. We scored 13 points. We scored 13 points against Cincinnati, and it was in the snow. I remember that game. But we just a lot of low scoring games. Just score. Then 78 and 79. Let's see, what are we? So 76 and 77, we had back-to-back 12-point seasons. All right. So 78, we went up to 16 points a game. Ooh. And in 79, we went back down to 14.8 points per game. And then in 80, went to 15.6 points per game. So, this offense right now is obviously we're at 15 or 16 points per game, whatever it was. Now, of course, a 7-point game against the Bengals and a 3-point game against the Eagles. Obviously, our points per game total is obviously plummeting, right? No shocker there. But I would still have to say, without question, that our teams from the 70s were just because we really had nobody. I mean, actually, we had Craig Morton for a couple of years, 74, 75, and 76. I mean, he was not a bad quarterback. He could throw the ball. He was a statue. He needed protection. We had no running game. We had no star wide receivers. Ray Rhodes, and we had Walker Gillette, and Bob Grimm and Don Herman, and we had no star wide receivers at all. We didn't have, we had Bob Tucker, but I mean, as far as some of these other teams had phenomenal offensive lines, great wide receivers. I mean, look at the Steelers. They had a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame center. They had a Hall of Fame running back. They had 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers. They had 5 Hall of Famers on their offense. Giants ain't got Hall of Famers. You kidding me? Yeah. So I mean, Craig Morton could throw the ball. He could throw the ball, but we couldn't block. He got sacked a ton because he was not mobile. He was a statue back there. Right? That's why in 77, he went to the Broncos, and what happened? He took them to the Super Bowl. They got killed in the Super Bowl, but he took them to the Super Bowl. So he was a decent quarterback. Actually, he took the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. He took the Broncos he took 2 different teams to Super Bowls. So Craig Morton was a decent quarterback. It's just when you can't block, you got no running game. I mean, I love Doug Coder. He's one of my favorite. Ron Johnson and Doug Coder are my 2 favorites of all time. But we really didn't have a running game, and we had no star wide receivers, and we couldn't block. I mean, Craig Morton can only do so much. So so we really didn't have much. I mean, but here it's like even last year we still stunk, and we had we had Waller, right? We had Saquon Barkley, right? But this year, at least we have Malik Neighbors, right? So, we didn't have there's no Malik Neighbors on the Giants in the 70s. I can show you that. There was no Saquon Barkley on it. I mean, we had Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson was a fantastic, and then his knee started getting injured, right? But in 70 and 72, with Ron Johnson, we had winning records. Ron Johnson ran for over 1,000 yards 2 times, and we had winning records. So when he was healthy, we had winning records, and he ran for over 1,000 yards. But once he started getting dinged up, I said we had, we had Dawkins, we had Kotar, and then once 76 rolled around, we had Zonka, Billy Taylor, and Gordon Bell, and guys like that. I mean, right? So we didn't have any unbelievable talent in the 70s. I said we had a couple of good quarterbacks. We had Fran Tarkenton from 67 to 71, right? And then we had Craig Morton. So we had a couple of decent quarterbacks, but we just did not really have a ton of talent on the offense. And I said, it's kind of getting there, but it's not quite there yet. This is the worst. I mean, as bad as you might think it is, it's still not as bad as it was in the 70s. We had 76, 77. We had back-to-back 12-point seasons, 12 points per game. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're going back 50 years ago. 12 points per game is worth a little bit more than, I mean, it's like the dollar. A dollar back then was worth a little bit more than it is nowadays. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, nowadays everything's pass. You know, a lot of teams are averaging well into the 20s. You know, if you average 15 points a game, you're not winning nothing. Well, I mean, back then, if you're scoring 12 points a game, you're really not winning. But, I mean, 12 points a game, at least back then, was a little more valuable than it is nowadays. Because, I mean, a lot of teams ran the ball a lot back then. The passing game was nowhere near what as advanced as it is today. You know, I mean, I remember, what was it, one of the championship games, the Dolphins, I think, threw the ball 5 times. Won the championship. Man, it was 73 championship game. Well, let me see. Let's check this out here. Let's see. 1973 AFC championship game. One of these games, Greasy threw the ball 5 times. Oh, my bad. He threw the ball 6 times. He was 3 out of 6 for 34 yards. And actually threw an interception too. But they ran the ball 53 times. 53 times they ran the ball. And so, you know, and they easily beat the Raiders 27-10. Although it was 17-10 going into the fourth quarter. So it was a very close game. Very good. Was a very good game. But Zonker's 2-yard touchdown run made it 27-10 and put the game out of reach. But I mean, but as I said, but the 73 championship, I mean, some things have changed. The 73 championship game, Bob Greasy of the Miami Dolphins threw the ball 6 times. That ain't happening. That ain't happening today. I guarantee you that. Ain't no AFC, ain't no championship game. And the game was played in Miami. Beautiful weather. It wasn't like it was a tornado down there or it was a tsunami or there was snow or not like that. Nope. He threw the ball 6 times. You know, as I said, we got teams nowadays throwing the ball 6 times in a row on the same drive because we don't run the ball as much. So I said, so 12 points back then was a little different than it is nowadays because nowadays the points are, you know, you get a little more points scoring than they were back then. But worst offense of all time? Nah, not quite. I mean, the 70s were still, I mean, it was still, it's just as bad, as painful as it is now. I mean, we stink now. We stunk back then, right? From 73 to 80, we didn't have a winning season, right? No playoffs from 73 to, well, from 64 to 80, we had no playoffs, but 70 and 72, we had winning records now. So, but from 73 to 80, losing records, horrible offense. The defense was usually pretty good. But we just couldn't score any points back then. It was absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. So as far as this year's offense being the worst of all time, nah, not quite. It's getting there. I mean, if we start putting up 3 points and 7 points quite a few more times throughout the season, and we start dipping down to 12, 13 points, yeah, I'd have to give it probably to maybe the worst offense of all time. But, I mean, as of right now, I don't think so. I don't think so. So I've lived through the 70s, and those were some painful. As bad as this offense is, the offenses from the 70s were just even a little bit more painful. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 13 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.